and welcome back to a new LEGO Marvel UCS set review. Today, we'll be looking at the X-Men Mansion. This set costs $330 and has 3,093 pieces. It's set number 76294 and comes with a whopping 10 minifigures. Let's get into this review. Quick look at the side of the box with the front of the mansion on it. Here's a look at the back of the box with all the minifigures, including the Sentinel and the dimensions of the set, which we will get into later in this review, along with all of its modular abilities and its play features in this set. In this set, there are 10 different minifigures, including tons of different ones of all X-Men and Magneto. We can start on this side with the first three that were pre-introduced in the X-Men X-Jet. We have Rogue, which has very faded printing on her jacket, which we can take a closer look at here. You just have to make it focus on the actual figure, which would be great. There we go. And you can see there's just a lack of printing. It's just very dark on the yellow because it's printed on a dark green jumper. The back looks fine. She does have a secondary expression, which is an anger look, which definitely fits for X-Men 97 if you watched it, which I'm not going to spoil that here, but it's been out for a long time. So yeah, this minifigure is pretty good, except for the faded printing on the yellow on the chest. Scott Summers, or Cyclops, he comes with a hairpiece, but you can remove it, and he looks like his finale version. However, he does have a secondary face, which I think was stupid in this case. It's only a slight change. However, I wish he didn't have it, because then he could be basically displayed with both suits from the show, the one from the first few episodes and the one from the last two, I believe it was. But you can still display it like that. It's just a little bit tricky. And this Cyclops does come with some accessories. I mean, one, he has a large power blast piece that he shoots from his eyes, which is just how his powers work if you've watched any X-Men material at all. And he does have to touch his forehead in the show for at least with his goggles to be able to blast them, which is very cool, especially since he has to hold something to be able to do it. So it looks like he is touching his temples to be able to do it, which honestly is a very nice touch, even though it's just how Lego pieces work. Wolverine, and this Wolverine minifigure is okay. He doesn't have the dual molded legs or any printing on the side of his legs, nor printing on his arms. However, he does have a secondary face with his hair piece. This is the same one from the CMF, and I'm pretty sure the X-Jet as well. In this set, if you have any of the CMF figures, I would definitely recommend switching them out for the ones in here, because this set notably is missing Beast and missing, I guess, Wolverine that has good printing on his legs and arm printing, along with Storm, which we'll get to in a little bit, which Storm is mostly good in this set, to be fair. We have the one and only Magneto. This Magneto minifigure is honestly beautiful in my opinion. I wish there was printing on his tiles, but that is okay because it makes up for his helmet and his cape, which you can take off of both. And on one expression, he has an angry look with a second, I guess, with a hairpiece. And then on his other side, of course, is just a nice smirk look. Very accurate from the one in the show, one Magneto in the show as well. And he's floating on a little platform, which is metal on the ground. But of course, you can always take him off of it to just have him be there as well as a normal figure. Probably the most disappointing minifigure in the set, which is Charles Xavier. This minifigure is very bland. He has a very reused head print, but his chair does look very cool, and we can take him out of his chair as well. Of course, we can take him out of his chair, and he's honestly just a normal minifigure. Nothing crazy at all. Doesn't even look like Charles Xavier to me. But still, again, it's a Charles Xavier for the first time in Lego form. Very minimal back printing, which is fine because he's wearing a suit and it's to be expected. The head print would have been nice for a new one instead of this old reused one. You wouldn't even be able to tell it's Charles Xavier without his chair, which is a little tricky to me. I wish they modeled this after Patrick Stewart more, because that would have been a more recognizable look than this for Charles, which does not look like Charles. Up, we have the one and only Phoenix, or Jean Grey, and this minifigure is not great, in my opinion. The printing on the chest is very good. However, the head printing is horrible. If you look at her face, it is very grayed out from the blue printing. And same with her second face. It's just not that great of a design. The hair print is good. I think it was used from Pepper Potts or Friends sets. But just with the orange hair and the printing on the face, it's not great. I wish they honestly just did a normal face print. It would have just looked better, even if it wasn't accurate. I just think it would have been a better look, especially with the faded look on her face. However, this is her first Jean Grey, so it's not horrible, but it's not great by any means. Bobby Drake, or Iceman, sorry if I got his name wrong, I apologize. This minifigure was not seen in X-Men 97. However, he was in the original X-Men animated series. I'm not sure which episode, but I'm pretty sure it was in season 2 or season 1. This minifigure, however, is very cool. He has his X-Men outfit, and which is weird because he wasn't ever part of the X-Men, at least in the show, so I'm pretty sure this is mainly a draw from the comics. This minifigure slot would have been perfect for Morph, or even, who else are we missing? I don't know. Jubilee, sorry, or Roberto. Roberto and Jubilee are two minifigures that should have absolutely been in the set, along with Cable. There should have been at least 5 more, in my opinion, along with Jubilee, Cable, and then Morph. Those 3 at a minimum would have been so nice, along with Roberto. So 4. Just 4 more minifigures to honestly complete the X-Men lineup for the show would have been nice. But again, this is fine. It's a cool minifigure nonetheless. We have Bishop. This is probably one of my favorite minifigures from this set. His printing all around is amazing. His blaster or gun is amazing. Secondary print on his face is amazing. Back print is amazing. Nothing really crazy to say about this guy except he looks amazing, which is annoying to say. Not because it's a bad minifigure, but again, we should have had Cable in the set along with Bishop because they both played, honestly, an equal important role in the show. Figure is Storm, or Ororo Monroe, sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. This minifigure really disappoints me, as in there's no leg printing. Or the hair seems a little bit weird because she doesn't put her hair down in the show. I'm pretty sure, again, she does in X-Men, but I don't believe she did it in X-Men 97, unless it was in the finale and I'm missing it. However, I don't like the hair down look. It takes away from how she looks as a character, I think. There's a reason she has the mohawk design. But there's one thing you can do along with this minifigure and the CMF one. I have the normal one, and I took apart my CMF one as well. If you notice, the printing on the torso is exactly the same. So all you have to really do is switch out the leg printing, like so. And already it's a much better minifigure. But there's 2 more things we can do. One, we can add these shoulder pads on, like so. And we can put her head back on from this set, not the CMF. Now this hair does not work with this. However, the mohawk does. And if you turn it around, you can barely notice that her face is still on. But if you move it just slightly, you can't tell that she has a second face. And I think this looks amazing. And you can also take her electric pieces from the CMF line. And it looks like a much better minifigure all around. The Powerbot, these electric pieces that they've been using for Palpatine and now Storm are not good pieces. The new ones, I think, are a lot better, and they represent the characters a lot more that they're playing. They look more powerful. This is honestly my favorite Storm minifigure, and it's one of my favorites from the set, just combining the two. It's very simple to do as long as you have both, and it just looks like a proper Storm. I don't know if I saved the best for last, but personally, with Deadpool and Wolverine coming out a year ago now, which is crazy to say, this is probably an amazing figure, if not the best in this set. There are some minor problems. He does have the same problems for his face print as Jean Grey does in the background there. However, his printing all around is very good, except for the head print, of course. His hair is amazing. His torso is amazing. His overcoat is very accurate. His staff is, of course, simple. But however, he has one major different piece. This is a new Power Blast piece that he can hold, and it's the charging of the cards, I guess. And he can throw 3 cards at once, and it just looks very cool, especially while on display. And yeah, these are the 10 minifigures from the set. The minifigures, you can replace the Wolverine with the one from the CMF. It's perfect, same as the Beast minifigure, which is why I didn't reference him, because LEGO already did him amazingly, and he should have been in the set. So the extra 5 minifigures in the set that honestly were needed were not put in the set, which definitely is very disappointing. However, you have at least Beast in this case, and a better Wolverine, and a better Storm. I would like to look at a little bit of the extra play features. If we take that off, we have Logan's bike, which if you watch the show, it's not actually Logan's. It is Cyclops's, and Logan steals it from time to time. And this is a very good bike. The new mold is awesome. I don't know when this mold was made. It feels new. It's just a very good bike overall. And this bike has some features to it. with the new Sentinel in the set, which is the first time ever, you can place it on the back. So just like this with this piece right here, which is new for at least 2024, I believe it was, and you just connect a few of the pieces, you can have the bike jumping from it. If we just put it on, there we go. We can have the bike flying to the Sentinel itself. But we're gonna take that off for now to take a look at this Sentinel. If anyone has opened and bought the new Fantastic Four set with Galactus, you'll notice some similarities, including this, the ability to turn it at its torso, which is amazing, and the ability to add something to the back of it and be able to fold it in and make it look pretty natural, along with the head and how it tilts. Now, this build is awesome. This would have been an amazing $20, $30 set with the bike that they could have just released on their own, which I wish they would have, but it's not too late. They can always release this in a different set, which I think they should, because army building these would be so cool. Buying like 4 or 5 of these would be awesome. One thing you might have noticed is on its hand, it has a little grip, which can move in and out. And if you open up some minifigures arms like Beast here and close it, like so, and then put their arms down, you have now the minifigure in its arms. And depending on how you have the arms and what figure you have in, it kind of is a little tricky, but if you squeeze this hard enough, the minifigure will hold pretty nicely. You can move the arm pretty much however you want, and it will hold the minifigure as long as it's not down, because then it'll just fall to the ground. But if you have it up, you can have it like look at him in a weird way. And there's many ways to display this. There's a lot of moving features on its arms. Now, speaking of that, that's its arms. The arms have a lot of movement, except they pop off at some weird angles, but they have a lot of movement. There's 3 different joints. The legs, on the other hand, only have 2 because they decided to use the stupid mech piece from obviously all the mech sets from Ninjago or even Star Wars now or Marvel, and you don't have knee joints, which I think is very frustrating. You have really high ankle joints, which is nice, but not knee joints. So if you want to display it straight up, it's backwards, so you have to angle it, and this is like the closest together you can have for it to stand up properly, which I think is a little frustrating, but still, it's a very good buildable figure at that. We have a little brain for it if we just take off its hat, and I guess its head on the inside. There's a little brain, which I don't know. It's probably not. It's just probably a piece they used because it's pink and it matches everything, but you know. Here is the X-Men mansion itself. It is honestly very big. This is my hand for size, and it covers about 1/3 of the set. You're going to see people complain about how small this set feels, and yes, again, it does feel small, but in the grand scheme of its length and overall size, it's not horrible. Like, this length is not amazing, but it's, again, still not horrible. Like, this is a very good set for what you're paying. Nothing compared to the Daily Bugle, in my opinion. But again, you're getting an X-Men mansion for the first time ever, and it honestly looks very beautiful. Now, if you notice, this is the normal base plate for size for modulars. It is very thin, the build itself. However, getting the yard like this makes it look so good, and there's so many good details to it. The back alleyway, again, is very nice, matches very well with the other modulars, which we can go into in a second. And I'm not going to go into all the details in the set because you already know what they are, so I'm really just looking this over for you guys. Now, there are some ground turrets in the ground, of course. Those are from some of the older seasons of the show. We have the Sentinel breaking apart the mansion itself. And then there's a few different displays. We have a little fire hydrant that's popped up and some water or ice or fire, whatever it is. And then a sticker with Xavier's school. Now let's just take a look at the school itself from the inside. Broken into 3 different sections. Oh, I guess 6, but 3 main sections. If you just peel this off, you have this left section. If you peel the right side off, you have, of course, the right section and then the central section itself. So it is very modular. You can also take off every single section along with their corresponding roofs. So we can just do that on every single side, and you can really see how modular this set is. And we can take that off, and we can take this off finally. So yeah, this set is very modular. There's a lot of parts of this that can be taken apart. However, I do not see the point in this, mostly because there's nothing else to connect it to. Like, if you wanted to connect like 3 stories, I guess you could. You would have to make a mock out of it, like, and it wouldn't work at all. But you know, it's a little too tall. I don't know what to think about the modular system of this set. However, it is still pretty cool. What I'm gonna do now is show you each floor separately instead of just all the modular system. I think that'll be a better way to show this off. Look at the first floor of the mansion, and it does look very cool. And if you're wondering, we can take off the center one, the center roof. You cannot put the roof on the bottom. However, you can on the sides, as it's the same build pretty much. And if we just take a look in this set, we have a nice center like living room and an elevator that goes up to each floor. Not really, it's fake. We have a bookshelf, and then on this side we have a little classroom that you can put minifigures in with the globe, travel magazines, and whatever. Then on the right here, we have something really cool. It is the danger room. It doesn't look very good in this set, in my opinion, but to better display this, we need to open it up, which if you notice, I just pressed on the wall slightly and it popped off. That's kind of how these sets work. It's not great. We have a better look at the entrance to the danger room. If you notice, the door stays open a little bit, which I don't know if it was an error on my part, but I mean, by taking this one piece off, it closes all the way, so I don't know. It's really annoying in my opinion. But anyways, with the next to the basketball hoop, you have a little power thing. If you pull it out, you have entrance to the danger room itself. Now, for better access to the danger room, you have little walls that you can take apart and pull off, and they just show better access to the danger room. To the second layer of this mansion, we're going to start again with the danger room because it continues up. Now there's a little platform here with the chessboard, which I think is a nice touch, to the second half of the danger room. So again, there's more sections to this top part that, yes, can be taken off. So if you wanted, you can take off all 4 walls, which we'll look at in a second. If we can get all of them off, definitely a little bit tricky, but you can get them off. And there we go. Sorry, a piece broke off. We have all 4 walls. So we have the 2 bottom ones with some missiles. Then we have the top ones with some chainsaws that fall off and some lasers using lightsaber pieces. And again, here is a better look at the rest of the danger room. Again, it's not amazing by any means or a good representation of the danger room, but it does work for this set. Top view of the danger room with all its tools and weapons. It is very cool and it's a good look. And yeah, that's the danger room. Next, we have this top portion, which has a medical bay, which you can lift up, and you can see Wolverine's, adamantium in his skeleton from his x-ray. And then you just have you can have a minifigure sit in there. There's lots of small pieces. There's also Cerebro, which we'll get to in a minute. Then we have a nice little transition to a little lab area. And then to a bedroom, which has, I believe, Scott's or Logan's, because he does have the picture of Jean and Scott on his wall, along with a sword, so it's probably Logan's. And then on the other side, it's just a plain bed with nothing too crazy, and a little X-Men comic, which is probably going to be an expensive sticker one day. Now, let's just look at Cerebro. Place Charles in there, and then just by removing this from its stand, which is a little bit tricky, we can place Cerebro on top of his head, like so. It's definitely a fit. I don't know if it really can fit properly, but you can sit it on his head. Looks a little awkward, but he can be looking at Cerebro, which is a nice sticker there that shows all of mutants in the world. Main features of the sets that I haven't mentioned, one of them is the roof. If you've watched anything about this set, you'll know that there's a little lever on the back side of the roof, and when you push it down, the entire roof pops right off. Or not the entire roof, the entire top section of the said roof pops off. And it's just to show, I guess, the mansion exploding, because it does that a lot, especially in the movies. But it's easy to put back together. Just 2 glass pieces are holding it together. And this just sits, which is really frustrating, because it can spin, pop off really easily if you're not paying attention. But you can display that however you want. More small feature that I didn't mention, and it's not what I'm about to do now, but you can place Charles Xavier there on the roof. There's little holes on the bottom of his feet, to where you can place him on this stud here that I'm pointing to with my hand, and you can just hit him down, and you can put his foot on the back, which has a little bit of a place for the foot if you can get it in properly, about like that. Stands a little weird for sure, but you do have now the Sentinel on the X-Mansion. If you pick it up, it won't fall off unless the foot literally breaks off. Now, there's a whole bunch of holes on the bottom to where you can place minifigures. There's a literal handful of places or pieces that you can put minifigures on. This one is for Bishop, which you can put on the top. Look with all the minifigures on display, and it does look very cool. You can tell immediately that this is how this set is supposed to be displayed, with all the X-Men flying around. And yes, I did put all the X-Men in the air that can fly. That includes Rogue in the show, including Jean Grey, including Bishop, which I don't know if he can fly. That's what the box said to do. I don't know. And then we have Storm in the back, along with Logan flying off the roof with the motorcycle. And yeah, that is this set. This is a beautiful set in my opinion and well worth the money. However, again, it does have some downsides, including its size. It is definitely a little bit small. That has been the review of my X-Men Mansion. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all again later. Goodbye.